What's up guys, Diplex here again. Welcome back to another video. First I wanted to thank everyone for the support shown on yesterday's update video. All the likes, comments, and positive energy really gave me a lot of motivation, and I'm very excited for this month. So the first video of the month, May 1st, is going to be quite special. I played Post Scriptum with many other content creators, developers, and playtesters the other day, and it was one hell of a good time. We played for about 4 hours, and I got various content, screenshots, observer views and angles from above like I do with my Squad Ops gameplay, as well as some first-person action there for the second match, and it was just an amazing time. I think many of you will have already seen most of the content online. There were so many YouTubers there and streamers, so the whole event was very, very well covered. Now, I was fortunate enough to be able to observe the game from above for the first game. Then for the second match, I just couldn't help myself but to join in. It looked so much fun. So in today's video, we're actually gonna take a look at the screenshots, or the combat photos that I personally like to call them, from the first game when I was observing everything from above. I also got a lot of good observer footage, but the game went on for so long, it was kind of hard to keep an eye on the whole game. It wasn't a one-life event like we see when I do the Squad Ops games. This was a continuous match, so there was plenty of respawns and stuff, so it was a little bit harder to keep an eye on the overall progress of the game, but it was an amazing time, and I'm gonna see what I can make out of the hours of footage I got from that. But in today's video, we're gonna do something special, something different that I don't think anyone else has been doing so far for the post-scriptum events that have occurred. We're gonna take a look at the still images, the screenshots, or the combat photos. I've done a few minor touch-ups just to, it's not to make them come alive more, but sometimes when you take screenshots, the quality can be drastically reduced to what it actually feels like and looks like in-game, in motion. So I think it's added a nice little kind of realistic touch, sort of like a camera touch to it in a way. I'm excited to show them to you. They're very vivid. Some of them tell a story, some of them really give you a certain kind of feel, and some are just beautiful. Some are just a great showcase of how beautiful this game looks. So without further ado, let's head in and look at the screenshots that I took from the first game this last Saturday. Yes, April 28th. Good playtest, so much fun, and I can't wait to do more. Let me know in the comment section down below which photo or screenshot you thought looked the best. I'm gonna do my best to describe the situation and the scenario behind each photo.
All right, let's get started. This is the first screenshot that I took from the first game. We're here on the map of Driel. This is the Driel Railway Bridge. This is sort of on the northeastern part of the map, almost at the very far northeastern top. This is close to the German spawn. The game mode was offensive, so the Brits were defending all the cap points, and the German objective was to capture every single cap point one at a time in a set order. So I'm gonna mark out here on the minimap where we are, and as soon as we change the general area, we're gonna point that out on the minimap so that you guys can see where we're moving. It was a very interesting game. So the first screenshot here, I'm not entirely sure because I must have missed it, but I do believe that the Brits that spawned nearby actually managed to set up a 6-pounder gun here by the bottom right of the railway bridge on the southern side. By the way, this map is based on a area just west of Arnhem. This is where Polish paratroopers landed during Operation Market Garden. So the gun has just fired a shell at the opposing side. I think it targeted a German half-track that tried making its way over the bridge. There was also a lot of infantry, but this was actually a real kill zone. Towards the end of the game, no German squad really made it over alive. Luckily, though, they could deploy pontoon bridges to the east of this area, closer to the German spawn and sort of on the far right side of the map. And that's sort of how they circumvented the Brits here by the first cap zone. They never really saw it coming. We're going to move over to the next picture here. This is a cool one. Some German infantry tried advancing on the left side of the bridge. I'm not sure if they wanted to try and cross the water or if it was to, to provide support fire for the troops trying to advance across the bridge. But the AT gun spotted them and fired a shell. Looked pretty cool. You can also tell there's a Bren gunner there with a deployed Bren gun on the left side of the AT gun, also opening fire. Really cool start. So the Germans shortly after did get that pontoon bridge set up, and they started really swarming the place. They sent over a lot of troops, including a Tiger. So we're going to move on to the next screenshot and see what we've got here. Yes, this is a pretty cool picture of how it looks when you have a whole truck of soldiers. You see the two here by the end. This was... These guys here are soldiers from the 9th SS Panzer Division. So they're rested. They're ready to cross and head further into enemy territory. Let's move on to the next one. Yes, so now we're moving to the area of Vlot. This was the first sort of urban cap zone after the bridge. There was another trench line in between the small town of Vlot here and the railway bridge, but the combat there was pretty swift. The Germans did manage to overrun that position, but we did see some more serious urban fighting here in Vlot. This is a cool picture of German soldiers entering the town. Pretty quick. You see a dead British paratrooper there at the bottom of the photo in the grass. You also see a German... is that a squad leader with an MP40 on the left side of the photo? Pretty cool to see all the animations and uniforms in effect here. We're going to move on to the next one, which is more troops arriving. This time I think they're under fire. So you see the two front riflemen here crouching down, taking it slow, and you've got more troops arriving back there. It's a pretty awesome photo. They do some building clearing. So this game was about 30v30, roughly 55 players, I'd say, online playing. So it was a pretty big playtest. I do believe it can go bigger, and it will. But right now, that was the number of players we had, and it worked really, really well. No lag, no glitches, no bugs, no nothing. Just absolutely perfectly smooth. So I can't wait to see some slightly larger scale battles as well. Oh, yeah, so the Tiger that crossed over the pontoon bridges then kind of went on its own. I saw very little tank and infantry fighting, like mixed combat. It was mostly just the Tiger roaming around on its own, out in the open, by the bushes, by the hedges, kind of just trying to pick off British armor and lighter vehicles. And it did really well doing so. The tank crew was very skilled. They didn't talk too much. I think they did most of the communication in between themselves inside the tank. I didn't hear a lot from above, so not a lot of local chat. So probably a pretty good team here. 3 people, I think, in total. Could have been 4, but I'm not entirely sure. In this picture here, this is just after the fighting in Vlot. This Tiger has knocked out a British light staghound. I do believe that's a staghound. And you can tell that was an easy fight for the Tiger. It laid here in ambush waiting. That's kind of a nice view, actually. Some of the flames coming out from the engine, I think. Possibly also the turret. But that was a one-shot kill. There's going to be more photos of the tank combat later on. The Brits also had a Firefly, a Cromwell, and a bunch of other tanks at their disposal. But the only German tank I saw this game was the Tiger, and I think it's because it was pretty much just one Tiger active at all times. We're gonna see more combat with tanks later on, but the Germans played this game excellently with the Tiger. They had to retreat it a lot to repair it and rearm and all that, but It's such a heavy and valuable vehicle that you have to really take good care of it, and that's probably also why we didn't see it roam around with so much infantry, why it kept on its own, kind of just roaming around this huge map looking for targets. Really cool stuff. I can't wait to be in a tank crew sometime. That's another view of the aftermath, and that's a nice little view from above as the Tiger has moved away from the burning staghound there in the back. Really cool stuff. You can tell the commander's out, also the crew. The driver's hatch is open as well, so he's getting a better view of the situation. Tanking in this game is nothing like in Battlefield or any other game like that. It's super serious. It's really slow paced, and they have such a tremendous presence on the battlefield that it's really important that you keep them alive, especially a Tiger of this caliber. It's a nice shot of the crew again. Okay, so we're moving on. This is during the German advance on the city of Driel, which was the next cap flag, or the next capture zone. There's going to be a lot of photos from this area because this was probably the most contested flag. This is where the Brits managed to do the best, I think, throughout the entire game. The approaches were pretty well covered. There was a lot of paratroopers in the city. They also had armor support, mechanized support as well. So this is probably somewhere on the outskirts of Driel, perhaps in between Vlot and Driel, or possibly also the railway bridge and Driel. Somewhere in between there. Pretty cool picture. Two German riflemen there by the edge of a hedge there, looking for targets. Pretty cool. Yeah, that is a photo from the advance to the city itself. So this is pretty much from the southeastern approach. So this is over the fields from in between Vlot and Driel. Really cool stuff. I like that photo. Nice kind of blur effect. Depth of field. Very nice stuff. Cool. British paratrooper sniper in the church tower. If we go one picture back again, you can see it in the distance there. So it's not a super high elevated church, but it's a really good position. So interestingly enough, in this photo over here, he's looking at the northeastern and northwestern side of the city. So some German squads did decide to not attack from the Vlot cap zone. They did decide to kind of flank around and attack from the north. So they arrived from the railway bridge. It's a pretty cool picture. Moments after I took this one, he was dead. Yeah, I think a 222 or a half track with an MG, a burst of fire came and it brought him down instantly. So he was quite a visible target, but I gotta, give him credit for the awesome position. It's a very obvious sniper position, but it's very cinematic, very filmic, very romantic in a way. It's a cool photo. This is also during the fight here for Driel, the city itself. This is also on the outskirts. I think this could be on the northern side. There's a big road running from the west to east near the river from Hilsum through Driel to Arnhem. So this is somewhere up there in these areas over here. German infantry on the left side, so on the north side of the road, but they're taking fire from British infantry across the field. They were even closer to the river, so the Brits had a fob set up just outside of Driel as well, where they could receive reinforcements and send troops to defend the capture zone inside the city itself. So you see German infantry advancing here. The grenades in the background are not smoke grenades. They're actually phosphorus grenades. They give away a very kind of quick but very thick white smoke. And you can see that one grenade to the right has just exploded. It sends away what almost looks to be flares. with lots of cool smoke trails and sort of an intensive yellow burn at the edge of the trail. Very cool. See a dead German soldier in the field. He's been shot. The rest are taking cover. The German soldier closest to the camera here is bolting his rifle, so he's just opened fire. They're moving up a little bit closer. I like this photo a lot. This is very vivid, very bright and vivid. Squad leader here on the left side of the photo with an MP40 opening up as well. You see some of the shell casings being ejected. So the British infantry, they're about, what, 60, 80 meters by the tree back there. So I think this guy's just really trying to suppress the infantry here while his own men are moving up. It looks to be hip fire, almost. But it's quite a panicked situation to be stuck like this in between the... You're in a ditch, essentially. You got the road on your right side, but essentially moving up it is going to cost you your life because you're going to be very exposed. And you can't necessarily engage the enemy by advancing because you've got a lot of open ground between you and the Brits behind cover there by the hedges and trees. So it's a tricky situation. It's a cool photo as well. He's standing up there returning fire. I think they also tried... Yeah, they did deploy a few smoke grenades there, as you can tell, just to try and screen their retreat or their advance. But combat was very hectic around here. There's a lot of like close quarters, a lot of troops mixed with enemies. It was a playtest that really showed that teamwork and coherence and, you know, formations and all were super important because some of the squads had trouble keeping their flanks secure, and it would lead to just massacres. And I'm going to show you an example of that later, which I think is really cool. Alright, so this is down by Driel again. We're moving into the church, which is pretty cool. This is sort of on the north side. The church should be marked out on the minimap now. This must be a squad that arrived from the northeast. We've seen MG34 being carried. A few more riflemen. They're coming around the corner. I made it around. One of the soldiers has a Panzerfaust, which is pretty cool. Totally useful for like clearing out buildings, or not only to be used against armor, it actually does pack quite a good explosive punch against infantry as well. So he had that at the ready. Also, it's a really fun gun to fire. I mean, if you have it, use it. That's kind of the deal. A rifle might be a more efficient weapon, depending on the situation, but it's really cool to see the German infantry advancing like that. And we have another rifleman laying down some covering fire, while the rest of the squad kind of rallies and advances. Pretty cool stuff. It's a little bit hard to see in this photo, but this is on the opposite side of the church. So this is from the south side. You have British paratroopers arriving to reinforce. So some pretty hectic engagements did follow this picture in the church. It was really hard to get any good photos from inside, but the church was quite heavily contested for a while. Really cool stuff to enjoy, though. Hopefully I'll be able to give you guys some more concrete observer footage in the future. And I'll do my best to get some cinematic shots of the action. Right, we are back on the road. I do believe this is closer back southeast near Vlot, the previous capture point. Tiger just roaming around, not sure where we are, but it's a cool shot. Using a road this time around. Obviously a Firefly could be somewhere nearby, lurking. Maybe a Piat team. The Piat is horrible when it comes to accuracy. It's a lucky shot if you can hit a Tiger from like 40-50 meters, especially if it's on the move. But up close and in the engine, it should do a lot of damage, which it was intended for. This one I like as well. This is from the eastern approach of Driel. This is not from the north, because I do believe the Brits were successful at recapturing the church and the constant flow of reinforcements that they had, it kind of stopped the two squads that advanced by the road and the church from gaining any ground. So this is later on in the battle when the Germans kind of attempted another assault. These guys are not arriving from Vlot. These guys are arriving from the straight east. There were more buildings to use as cover, as you can see on the minimap. And they were kind of using that approach. It was safer, and they were coming down the main road. But it also meant that the Brits had more fortifications set up here. It was more of a concrete area to defend. It was easier to set up defenses here. So these guys ran into excuse me. These guys ran into a lot of MG fire later on. But I like this picture a lot. You got a squad leader with the binoculars trying to spot for enemy targets. You've got the rest of the squad kind of, catching their breath. You have the rifleman here closest to the camera on the right side. He's actually resting his left foot on the wall while he's leaning over to the right. And the soldier in the far end of the picture is actually jumping, vaulting over the low fence. Pretty cool image. We're going to move on to the next one. So some of the soldiers have moved over. The squad leader is probably telling the other two riflemen, it's your turn, it's time to move up. And the soldier now by the wall is still resting his left foot on the brick wall. It's a really cool photo, I think. It really looks realistic. This is further down. This is when they got closer to the crossroads. It's sort of the city center of Driel, or the town center. It's not much of a city. You also have an STG-44 here closest to the camera, laying down some really, really good suppressive fire. This gun really packs power. So he's exposing himself out here in the open. And you have a rifleman there to his right, shooting as well. Slightly further back by the fence and the building they were by previously, you have an MG-34 gunner here, deployed with his bipods on the fence, opening up. It's a pretty cool angle. And here's the rest of the squad now gathered up. I really, really, really like this photo. I like the colors. Unfortunately, I'd like a little more exposure. The color is a little... It's hard to really pick up the what's happening closer to the camera because of the light. It's pretty dark, but I think it still gives you a good idea of what's going on. You got the two riflemen there advancing, one laying down covering fire. You also have a medic on the right side of the picture applying bandage to the STG-44 gunner, who was most likely hit by a rifle bullet as he was exposed out in the open. So when it comes to flanking, you got to keep your flanks secure. So some squads were better directed and led than others, which led to like more realistic combat and also more efficient combat. In this case, I think this was just bad luck, but oh, actually, we're not going to move on to that screenshot yet. Yeah, this one is first up here. This is where I think a Panzerfaust or I think this was a Panzerfaust. Probably not a German grenade, but a Panzerfaust hit the side of the building here, and the two soldiers outside were knocked down by the blast, which is understandable. It's quite a violent explosion. But we also have a paratrooper indoors. He survived that somehow, but he's going to be opening up at the Germans advancing. So this was really, really close quarters. Super deadly action. Here's another picture of the rest of the squad advancing. You have two soldiers here closest to the camera shooting into the building. I think this is like point blank distance. They're killing the rifleman we saw in the previous image. You have a few more soldiers in the back there advancing as well. But beautiful depth here in the picture. You see the field in the background and the green grass. It's really nice. It was a sunny, good day, perfect for screenshots. Here's a British paratrooper on the opposite side of the street with a Sten. He did really well. He actually managed to move up quite a lot here, and he's killed a German soldier. You can see him dead there, resting on the side of some sort of open shack. Pretty cool stuff. This is the picture I wanted to get to. This shows what flanking can do. Absolutely devastated to spot this. A whole German squad gunned down. So they were two grouped, but that sort of happens when you're doing building to building, when you've got limited cover and you're moving up from wall to wall. It's very likely and possible that you'll be bunched up with your teammates, and that's what happened here. I've counted to about 6 casualties, could be more, so almost a full squad wiped here by the side of a building, which is disastrous indeed. See some of the smoke grenades there. Could have been a regular hand grenade that exploded near as well. That could have killed most of them. But yeah, that's a lot of smoke development there in the background. Next one. Yes, this is further down the road. You see the little shack there on the left side next to the British soldier with the Lee Enfield? That's the one we saw the British paratrooper with the Sten gun come around to, and where the German dead soldier was leaning to. So this is really close. This is within like 20 square meters. This is super close. 50 caliber on a M5 half track. And we have a deployed water-cooled Vickers down there. I do believe it's water-cooled. It has the... Could be air-cooled too. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's definitely a Vickers. Paratrooper crewing that gun. This is an intense image as well. So that's the same car and the same wall there on the right side of the half track that we saw those dead German soldiers by. So this is probably a little bit later on when they had received reinforcements. And all the buildings you can see on the opposite side of the road here, or the street, they were all the buildings we've seen in the last 10, 12 screenshots. So it's a really, really close vicinity. All the troops are just fighting here from corner to corner. This is a nice screenshot because, well, there's a lot of things going on. You see all the debris and particles in the air from all the bullets hitting the car and the half track. Firefly. Yes. On the move. You've got a tank commander up in the hatch. Unfortunately, though, in an urban environment, there's going to be a lot of German soldiers nearby, or enemies in general, and moments after, he was actually shot and killed by a German soldier inside the building on the right side of the screen. And I caught a pretty cool photo here where the Firefly shot into the building. It didn't kill any of the soldiers because they were on the top floor on the right side of the building, and I think after this they left. But you can tell that crew hatch is still open. And the tank kind of panicked fire. But I think this is a really, really, really cool photo. Caught it just in the moment of impact. And that Firefly is going to be moving out on the street again. On the right side of the Firefly, you can see the church tower on the north side of the town where the sniper was at. And by the bottom of that tower, you had the German squad fighting the reinforcing British paratroopers in some very close combat. Boom! It moved up the street, and it was hit in the rear by a Panzerschreck. So there's really no safe area here for anything. This is sort of by the crossroads. On the right side of the Firefly, a little bit out of picture, you have the half track and all the buildings we saw previously. So it's a pretty small area, so there's a lot of action going on at the same time here. Beautiful explosion. It must have hit the ammo. All the shells and bullets going off in like a firework. Beautiful stuff. That's a nice picture I caught there of the Panzerschreck soldier that dealt the damage. Pretty long distance. That's a really good shot, actually. It must have been like close to 100 meters away, 80 to 100. So really good shot, well aimed, especially since the tank was moving. Nice picture as well. Moving on to the next one. You can see him moving up closer to the tank itself. And the next one that follows, it could be one of my favorite shots. I'm not sure if it's friendly or enemy because I didn't catch it, but a strafing run down the main street by 1 or 2 airplanes was called in. And you can tell the soldiers kind of like the German soldiers almost ducking. He's instantly changing his course of action here. He's running to the side. He was heading down the street, and it looks like he had to stop himself while he was doing it to kind of just like to brake and run for the side, run for cover, run out of the street because you can see some of the tracers and everything hitting the ground. It's a pretty cool image, actually. Not sure if it was friendly or enemy. I think it could have been friendly because they called it in to try and hit the Firefly and any paratroopers nearby. There is a Vickers on the left side there of the street. It's not crewed by anyone, but you can see some of the explosions and shots going off nearby, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a really hectic image. I don't think he was hit. I do believe he made it to the left side. So we have more reinforcing paratroopers up here as well near the destroyed Firefly. So the Brits were in control of the left side of the town now. The Germans had pretty much occupied the entire right side of the main street. We have some paratroopers here with Lee Enfields. Here we have them again, a little bit further south. Under fire, I do believe. Squad leader's getting down. It looks like he looks like he's hit. The other soldier's trying to help him. You got 2 more riflemen in the back there, trying to get to cover. It's a really cool screen as well. You can see the smoke from the leftovers of the Firefly in the distance. Actually, the Firefly is more to the left. The smoke to the right there could be from a half track, the one we saw previously as well. More British infantry moving up. I like this one a lot. You can just make out a Bren gunner on the right side of the road. So this is near where the Panzer Schreck team was previously. So I do believe there was one more soldier back here. That they suppressed and fought and neutralized. Further south, more German infantry arriving from the city of Vlot now. They came in from Vlot, which was to the southeast, which was a capture flag they had to hold for a while. While they were attacking the town of Driel, the Brits could actually counterattack and take Vlot, and they tried doing so, but the Germans were successful in defending the town. So more reinforcements started arriving from this area later on. Now south of Driel, this is towards the end of the game. The Germans have now pretty much secured the town. There's 2 flags remaining. There's one to the left of Driel, southwest of Driel, which wasn't defended at all. The last British defense, the last vehicles and you know, resources were all placed near the bridge down to the south, Stavaste Bridge, which was a hard nut to crack indeed. So the flag here near Vredestein was not really defended at all, but they did have some logistic trucks there. So the one German squad that moved there to capture it spotted one. I like that picture a lot. And they moved up to neutralize it. It didn't have any crew nearby. It was completely abandoned, but it's a pretty cool photo to see them advance like this. I like the perspective in this one. Very nice. Tiger, again, out on the field. This is a nice picture. Good colors. This is on the east side of Driel as well. I believe this is like east of Stavaste Bridge. Could be out in the big fields near the railway, running from north to south. Probably out tank hunting. We're about to see some more tank combat pretty soon. Oh, here it is in full speed, coming out of the hedge there, and it's got a bit of a jump in front of it. Looks pretty cool. Yeah, this is further east. This is like south of Vlot. A Firefly posted up here, spotted the Tiger, and tank combat continued. Just fired a shell here. You can see some of the residue smoke. And that is a hit to the Tiger. It hit the turret. There's some cool kind of explosion to the right. It could be some sort of bounce. I'm not sure what, but the Tiger took one hell of a hit here from the Firefly, and it resulted in it exploding. There were some paratroopers nearby as well that were curious about what was going on. So the Firefly definitely had more infantry around it. The Brits did more sort of combined arms Throughout the game, the tiger was almost always on its own, which was cool to see, but this time it did go down to the firefly, after having actually probably killed or destroyed 2 or 3 fireflies prior to this moment. So this was the first time the tiger went down in the game. It's a cool angle here as well. The firefly was simply victorious. Beautiful tank, by the way. Great model. Good detail. Okay, so this is towards the end of the battle now. The remaining assets and reinforcements are being sent to Stavasta Bridge to help defend the final flag. Got a lot of troops here. A whole squad loaded up into a half-track. Here's another soldier defending a barn entrance near Stavasta Bridge. Looks pretty cool, actually. I gotta admit that. Germans here, committing to the final assault. They had about 3 to 4 minutes left of the game here, so they really had to give it their all. You can tell there's 4, possibly 5 German soldiers deploying a smoke screen to cover them in their approach down the road. So these guys came from the city of Driel. They had just taken it, and they were advancing down the road. They were heading to the final flag here by Stavasta Bridge. Here they're advancing on the left side of the road. There's a few buildings north of the bridge here. That's where they're by right now, or that's where they're at. But after this length of buildings, the approach got quite a lot more punishing. There was little cover. They had to just sort of use the side of the roads, the ditches by the side of each road to advance in some sort of safety. But other than that, this is the last piece of cover. I like this picture. You can tell the 2 vaulting soldiers. The rest of the squad moving up. Smoke. Hard to see. Very hard to see. And this is actually the final shot I got from this game. They're really close to Stavasta Bridge here. Ultimately, they failed in taking this flag, but this was a really, really cool game. 2 hours of amazing fighting. So we're gonna wrap it up here. Hope you guys enjoyed this somewhat special video. It's a little bit different. I've never done anything like this before, but I thought these screenshots were super cool, and hopefully you guys enjoyed them as well, and the small stories behind each of them. So hopefully I'll see you guys soon again. I'm excited to make more videos, and especially more Post Scriptum content. Let me know if you guys want like a full observer game video where I'm watching the whole game from above like I do in my squad ops videos. I would be very open to do that as well. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys soon again. Ciao.